Hey guys, this is Eckhart Hello and welcome to another video. So I didn't intend to make this video today, but we just got the community transmission for Star Wars Battlefront II. It's been known for a while that the Scarif update will be releasing tomorrow, but the community transmission had been pushed back a couple of times, and I think some of the stuff we got in today's accompanying video might be explaining why. So, alongside new information we've got about various new skins, game modes, and the addition, of course, of the planet Scarif, the end of today's CT also basically states that this is the last live service content we will be getting for Star Wars Battlefront II. And for those who aren't familiar with the game, Battlefront II launched in a much different state in 2017. In the 3 years almost that it's been out, the game has gotten new heroes, new locations, brand new game modes, all for free. It's been a really good example, in my opinion, of how a live service game can work. And I do have to say, I like how they're framing this. The game is not being abandoned or anything like that. Rather, they see it as complete. Now, whether they've actually finished everything that they initially set out to do, or what they planned through their live service model, I think is up for debate, but they've given us an incredible amount of free content. And I think that that was part of EA's general strategy to begin to make things right for Star Wars fans. I've been a part of this game since really before launch. We got to try out the game in advance. We played through the entirety of the campaign and probably at least 12 hours of multiplayer. As part of the EA Game Changers program, us who are involved have always been in direct contact with the devs, and they really take our advice seriously. We have to talk about upcoming features before they're live, we get to give feedback, and for me, it's been a really phenomenal experience, and I can just personally say that the people who work on these games really love them, and they treat us, the game changers, and I think generally the players, really well as well. All of this content has been released for free, and part of that is because of the spectacularly troubled launch that we saw in 2017, and for those who don't remember, there was a huge controversy about certain elements of the game that were considered pay to win. Now, to me, that controversy has always been way overblown, especially when we look at the current state of games, but EA and DICE did go out of their way to change it, to make it better, and honestly, I think a lot of the response was because it was EA, and especially at the time, they had a really poor reputation for in-game transactions and whatnot, which I do think they have improved significantly, not only with Battlefront II, but also with Fallen Order. So with all that being said, I think it was an interesting experiment. I do think that there was a lot more that DICE could have put into the game, and I do wonder whether paid DLC might have been a better option. The main problem with that was there was a fear of segmenting the community, one that I think probably was already struggling a little bit due to the launch issues at the beginning, but which DICE had sort of been clawing back, with the game being priced sometimes almost free, and with the introduction of new game modes like Capital Supremacy. But I can also see a version of Battlefront II being continued for another 5 years maybe if the community was there. When I saw the end of this CT today, I was honestly really surprised because it didn't match what I thought was going on. It seems like a lot of people who were more familiar with the community and the game weren't as surprised based on the reactions on the Reddit, but to me it was a little bit sad, and I gotta say, I really appreciate what they've done with this game. I know I'm just rambling, but I kind of want to get my thoughts out. There are certain elements of Battlefront II that have always been a mixed bag for me. There's something about the movement and the aiming and just the general combat which has always felt kind of clunky, and there's no amount of DLC upgrades or anything that can change that because I think it's an issue inherent to how the game was made on an engine level. There were also a lot of weird restrictions with just how the game played compared to the Battlefront games of old. One great example is just how vehicles were treated. Instead of just being able to get in and out of vehicles, have multiple people in a single vehicle, you essentially have to spawn in them. And we look at something like Capital Supremacy, which instead of being a sort of streamlined affair with people being able to exit and enter capital ships at any time, again like we had in Battlefront II, the classic game, it's essentially just a 2-stage map with a cutscene in between. Now that's fine, I still think it's an interesting game mode, but I would really like to see Battlefront 3, if one is made, be more of a true sandbox. I want it to be a little tighter in control. But I want restrictions to be a little lifted, if that makes any sense. To me, despite being sort of loose in this control scheme like I've been talking about, Battlefront 2 always felt very rigid, and I just want to see that somehow fixed in the next game. But there were also a lot of positives. I wasn't a huge fan of some elements that the story took, but it was great to see a Star Wars campaign with these really highly rendered cutscenes, professional voice acting, and large-scale battles. That was really cool and something the first Battlefront game was missing. I also think for Battlefront 3, if they're just going to abandon space like they did in Battlefront 2 because of low player count, just take the time and focus on making a really good ground experience. Or at least don't spend so many resources detailing the inside of ships. I understand that most of space was contracted out to a third party, but still, resources are finite, and I'd like to see them really focusing on stuff that people will play. All in all though, I thought Battlefront 2 ended up being a really good game. I've been streaming it quite a bit over on my second channel lately, and to be honest, I'm sad that this is essentially it for the live service. I really enjoyed meeting with the Battlefront devs and talking about the future, and getting to participate as a game changer, and I really hope we get more of that for whatever comes in the future. Anyway, thank you Battlefront 2 for not only being a huge improvement over Battlefront 1 in my opinion, but also for not giving up on your players for releasing so much free content. I want to thank especially Ben, Den, Jay, and basically everyone else at EA for being just wonderful to interact with. And if you guys are interested, I will be streaming some Battlefront 2 tomorrow once the Scarif DLC launches, so if you're interested, make sure to check out my second channel X2, where I will be doing that and probably streaming the game quite a bit in the coming weeks, just as a way to say thanks. Anyway guys, that's all I have for you today. Until next time, be safe, and may the Force be with you.